What's going on, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of Kalani's Corner. I'm your host, Kalani Lua, here on FranchiseSportsMedia.com. Folks, it is another banger this weekend in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay. We got a showdown in a squared circle between Terence Bud Crawford and Showtime Shawn Porter for the WBO welterweight championship. The number 4 pound for pound fighter in the world, Crawford, taking on the two-time former welterweight champion Porter. This is going to be an absolute banger between these two. Bud Crawford coming in a perfect record at 37-0 with 27 KOs. Shawn Porter 31-3-1 with 17 KOs. Porter, as you guys have seen throughout his career, he's an aggressor. He's going to bring the fight. There has never been a boring match this man has ever been in, professionally or as an amateur. Bud Crawford slowly but surely has climbed the ranks and showing people that, hey, I'm an orthodox fighter. I switch it up from the southpaw, but I can fight from either stance, and I'm going to bring the pain to you guys. He comes in with not only an unbeaten record, but one where you say he's beaten a lot of really good fighters. When's he going to start beating the champions? When is he going to start beating the top guys? We've seen Porter go in there with fighters, We've seen Porter go in there with fighters such as Keith Thurman and give him a run. We've seen him go in there with Earl Spence and give him a run. With Bud Crawford, he's had a little bit of a different path throughout his career so far. He's climbed the ranks. He's had fights in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, but he has shown over the years that I'm not only one of the best boxers, I'm possibly one of the best fighters as well. And the distinction in that is you can be a boxer, jab, 1-2 combination, circle left, circle right, dip, dodge, and all that. Or you could be a fighter, someone when the going gets tough and you can't outbox your opponent, and you got to either come forward or you got to stand your ground, grit that mouthpiece down, and you got to throw some leather at him. Bud Crawford has shown that he can do that as well as anybody. Showtime Porter definitely has shown that he can do that. We've seen Porter at times come off with his fight style as a bit of a wild man, but in a good way. It's one of those where it's a controlled madness. In the boxing world, we have what you call the Mexican style of fighting. Basically, you stand in the middle of the ring, you get down, and you go toe-to-toe with your opponent. Bang, 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 right? We've seen guys like Julio Cesar Chavez, Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, and many, many others. I can't name them all, but just to name a few who made legendary careers with this sort of fighting style. Someone like Canelo Alvarez has a similar style to that, but he has boxing that goes behind it. Whereas you see guys like a Roy Jones Jr., a Floyd Mayweather, a Bernard Hopkins, guys who are more technicians, guys who use angles and movements and combinations to throw you off. That's what Terence Crawford is. Whereas Porter likes to say, nope, let's get in this phone booth and we gonna fight. The difference with Porter and why I say it's a wild style, but it's under control, is because he wants to get you out of your comfort zone. I want to come at you so much, it's going to make you frustrated. It's going to wear in your cardio. I've talked about this in previous videos where there's something about being a fighter and you're constantly having to backpedal. You're constantly have to push a guy off of you. It throws you off mentally, but also physically. It just wears you down. You got to exert so much energy moving around, circling away, trying to throw heavy punches to keep him off of you, and he's constantly coming at you, constantly coming forward at you, and you just start thinking, is this guy like the Predator or something, or the Terminator? He just won't stop. That's what Porter wants. Once you start getting mentally fatigued, physically, you're done. And he has shown that throughout his career that he can put that pressure on pretty much every fighter he takes on. It's only been a select few. Again, he's only got 3 losses in his career. He's only been a select few who have been able to withstand that level of pressure. Whereas Terence Crawford has shown, hey, as I step up in competition, whether it is against an Amir Khan, whether it is against a Kell Brook, I can live up to the moment. I can step to the plate, taking on bigger and tougher competition. Make no mistake about it, Porter is going to be a significant jump for Terence Crawford's career as far as level of opponent. Not only is a former 2-time champion, he's still active. His last fight was last year, so he's still active. He does commentating for boxing, but it's not like he's been away from the sport as far as outside the ring. No, he's staying active. He's aggressive, still young, and can still go out there and bring a tremendous showing inside the ring. With Terence Crawford, he's in a bit of a spot where this is not only his toughest opponent, but also one of his biggest moments. Starting to get to that point where, hey, your fights need to be in Las Vegas, not Nebraska. Your fights need to be on pay-per-view against quality opponents so that when we put that poster on the casino building, when we put your commercials, your advertisement, those promos on ESPN, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, it gets the hits. It gets people talking about, hey, you know that Sean Porter fight going, you know Terence Crawford, he's fighting Sean Porter. Oh man, I got to see that fight. It's starting to get to that point. Even here on Franchise Sports Media, we got to do videos about it to talk about it because that's how big of a significant fight this is. For Porter, it's not his last chance at a title by no means, but it is a chance for him to show why, despite not being the champion, he is one of the toughest fighters out there for anyone, and that's what's made him a consistent challenger throughout his the majority of his career. For Porter, it's a chance for him to take another step towards greatness, another step towards being one of the best in the world outside of the heavyweight division. You know, Canelo's moved up to middleweight, super middleweight. It's a chance for him to separate himself in a lengthy, long list of great welterweight champions. This is one of those fights that Crawford needs on his resume as a victory, especially if it's an impressive victory that he can show. You need to start putting my name in that conversation among all-time greats in this particular division. These two styles clashing against each other, what will prevail? Bud Crawford has shown that not only can he box, but I can bring the fight to you. We saw it against Kell Brook, where if I hurt you, I'm gonna come at you. And because he switches stances, he's a southpaw, but he's able to switch stances. That also would throw you off as well. Now, with a southpaw, if you're the opponent, generally what you want to do, we've seen this time and time again. The best example I could use, look at Bernard Hopkins versus Antonio Tarver. When Hopkins took on Tarver, he led with a straight right hand because a southpaw, like we saw in the Rocky movies, everything is backwards with them because it's opposite of what you do. Well, if you come straight down the middle, it leaves that opening dead at center with that right hand to come. Will that be a game plan that Porter looks to set and to push forward? We shall see. Also, I kind of get the feeling that because Crawford has such good footwork, because Crawford has such good cardio, and he is able to box, but also stay in there and fight, I would like to know, is Porter thinking of maybe changing it up just a little bit? Just a little bit. We know the game plan and what Porter's going to do. Hey, I'm here. You're there. I'm coming at you, buddy. What are you going to do about it? But is he maybe going to try to switch it up? Is he going to try to be a little bit more under control? Not be so wild and just let loose 4, 5, 6 point combinations. Bam, 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 bam. 2, 3 at a time. That way it throws Crawford off his timing and it doesn't allow Crawford to go ahead and counter with either a left hook, right, come up the middle with an uppercut. It doesn't allow him to recover. Bang, bang, push off of you. If you look at when Tyson Fury in the heavyweight division upset Vladimir Klitschko, he did it with not the most exciting game plan, but effective. 1, 2, hold, push off of you. He never allowed Klitschko to set his footing and never allowed him to line up his shots. Can Porter do that with Crawford? Get in and out, stifle him, get him in that lunchbox, get him in that phone booth, and just make it difficult for him to find his range. We know Crawford, because of his style, if I got range and I could move and I could use my reach on you, I could go ahead and hit you from certain angles and I could go to the body, upstairs, body up, down, down, up, up. Will Porter be able to say, no, I'm gonna keep you guessing. I'm gonna circle around you. Bam, bam, tie you up. Now I like to get the momentum, get up off you, go back at it. Bam, bam, get up off you, go back at it. Or is he basically going to stick to the game? Or is he basically going to stick to the blueprint and just say, no, I'm gonna come right at you. I got the cardio to go 12 rounds of me coming straight forward the entire time. He's probably gonna have to work on more of his head movement in this particular matchup, but with his father in his corner training him, you gotta think, taking on someone like Terence Crawford at the level that he's at and has shown, you gotta think, maybe we gotta switch it up. Even if not for the entire fight, throw a couple rounds in there, well, maybe we do something a little differently. We see it in the world of mixed martial arts, in the UFC, where a fighter might take a round or two, grapple with you. You know, if I'm a wrestler or jiu-jitsu guy, I'm gonna grapple with you and see how that works out. Now, if I can finish you, cool. But if not, I'm gonna get you thinking about these takedowns. I'm gonna get you thinking about me coming in, grabbing you, taking you to the mat. Why? 3rd, 4th round, you're gonna be so worried about me taking you down, I'm gonna come right over the top with an overhand right, a la Khabib versus Conor. third round, he lands that devastating overhand right. Why? Because Conor was so worried about the takedown. If you look at Canelo Alvarez when he fights, first couple rounds, okay, let me fill you out. I'm gonna come forward. But then what I'm gonna start doing is that I'm gonna start boxing you little by little. As the rounds go on, I'm gonna become more aggressive. I'm gonna assert my will on you more and more because I'm strong, I'm powerful, and what I've been doing early in the rounds, boxing you up, bam, dig into the body, that's gonna start wearing on you. And we saw it against Caleb Plant. As time went on, as good of a boxer as Plant is, the power and strength of Canelo was just too much for him to overcome. Now, Crawford isn't necessarily the biggest power puncher, but again, with 37 victories and 28 KOs, he has shown I could finish guys. It's not from a one-punch knockout, but more so from me setting you up, wearing you down. You get to the point to where you're tired, you absorb so many punches, and I'm just landing, where I just overwhelm you to the point where you can't stand anymore. It just beats you down. It's like water hitting rocks. You throw water at a rock, it's not gonna break right away, but over time, the consistent flow, the consistent pressure, it cracks through. That's what Crawford likes to do. For Porter, he likes to break you down. Again, like I said, breaks you down with that pressure coming at you, dig, and just throwing what he has at you and constantly putting that pressure in your face to where you start to break down, you get fatigued, mentally you go, then physically it's right after. This is going to be an excruciatingly exciting matchup right here. I cannot wait for these two to get into the ring. Crawford, Porter. For Crawford, if he was to win, the big fight out there that everyone wants to see is him versus Errol Spence. Unfortunately, because of Errol Spence's accident that he had a couple years ago, Errol seems to be in a different headspace. Remember, in boxing, this isn't the UFC. You're in different promotions. Because they're in two different promotions, it's a little difficult to get those matchups going. But if somehow Crawford can beat Porter and they could set that up, that is a fight right there. That is a golden ticket. For Porter, if he was to pull off the upset here, because he is the challenger, there is I would say a mandatory rematch, but if he's able to do that, and let's just say, okay, he beats Crawford, take Crawford out the equation, well, he's now got a litany of challenges out there for him to go. Does he run it back with any of the guys that he's formerly faced? Guys like Keith Thurman, Errol Spence Jr., Adrian Broner, or does he move on to something else? We shall see how it particularly goes on that, but make sure you tune in to ESPN Plus pay-per-view Saturday night, live from Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay. Sean Porter challenging Terence Bud Crawford for the WBO Welterweight Championship. It is going to be a banger. Be sure to check back here on FranchiseSportsMedia.com for all the latest in combat sports and sports all around. I've been your host, Kalani Lua. This is Kalani Corner. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time. Peace.